You are now listening to the Interrogation Room with Andrew Guilford.
Okay, so you went to school for, what was it?
Theater. I thought I was an actress, but I think I was always a writer, filmmaker. Like, if I had to do it again, I'd probably, though I'm really glad I learned about acting because I think it's really important for so much, like, you know, writing to understand character and stuff like that. So I don't know, maybe I wouldn't have done it differently, but I wish I would have interned on films and, you know, and learned how to edit and do all those amazing things that, you know, there are people that can do their editing, their own sound design, everything, you know. I'm like, I can produce, I can write, I can act, but the expensive stuff I have to hire.
Yeah, but like, thankfully, growing up in the modern world, like you could literally go on YouTube and learn all that stuff. Like, and we were just talking about college and all that stuff. Like, I was doing research about a year ago on like, you know, like should I go and do like a visual communications degree? And like everyone on Reddit was like, it's a complete waste of time.
Right.
So, but like you're living the dream though. You're literally living in LA, like
Yeah.
born and raised in Indiana, just so everyone knows.
No, I was actually born in Indiana and I went to school in Indiana, but I was raised in Minnesota.
Okay, yes. Which,
I'm a good Midwestern girl.
That we appreciate. That's where that connection is. I absolutely love it. So so just so everyone knows, Clarissa Jacobson, she wrote a book called I Made a Short Film. Now, WTF do I do with it? I don't know how you say it. I always say I wrote a short film. Now, what do I do with it? I always blank out the F parts.
Really?
Yeah. I what do you call it? What are you
I called
telling
my
people?
WTF book. And what's funny is when I did a talk at Clermont-Ferrand in France,
Yep.
which is, I don't know if you know anything about, you know, it's probably the best short film festival in the world. It attracts so many people. It's amazing. People have to go if they haven't been. But I did a talk there, and the French don't have a word for WTF.
Oh, really?
So above my head was a giant banner. They actually spelled it out. The French, they don't give a so they wrote what the
That's
which is
awesome.
hilarious.
Yeah. Well, now after you being at Clermont, you've officially taught people a American acronym of WTF, which is very popular. So you wrote this book, you have recorded it yourself. Again, I tell everyone like this would definitely be in your top 10 film books, like you know, up there with Save the Cat and Rebel Without a Crew. Like there's so much awesome information in there that I never would have thought of, just stuff about like all the stuff like making pens and banners and stickers, like even if those things might have a cost, like, you know, like the return on investment, that is so rewarding. So I learned so much from that. Your amazing award-winning film, Lunch Ladies. Like, by the way, and I'm sorry, like, are you tired of talking about that? Like,
no, I love my film.
So, no, that's
like
so
I say
awesome.
in my book, love your film, and making that film was one of the best things I ever did. So
well, it was.
I get tired of talking about Lunch Ladies.
No, that's awesome. I watched it for the first time a few months ago, and it's absolutely incredible. The production value on it, it's hilarious. Like I love the girls in that. Just the humor, gore, like what they did. I want to spoil at the end, but that poor girl at the end, like, oh my goodness,
she deserved it. She had it coming.
She did. I was like, absolutely, she did. Your next film, a very important film about a very important film, like, and then your most recent work, which, from my understanding, is hitting the festival circuits now. Butts, I believe, is its name. So, my girlfriend told me not to say this, but like, I feel perfectly okay saying I like butts and not being judged as a weirdo. So, like.
That's what we get with that. That one I didn't write. That's from my friend Kent. So I don't think they're seeing something. They're going to see something they're not. But yeah, that I'm really proud of that too. But Lunch Ladies is my heart.
You have the awesome like sense of humor. You're very witty with your titles. It's awesome. So take me back to the beginning. Like what got you started in filmmaking? What got you started with just the arts in general? Like, is there inspiration for that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that I kind of feel like there's artists in all of us, and you can either choose to follow it or not. So when I was a really young, I thought I was always writing. That's what's weird is sometimes you come back to what you did as a kid. I was always making up stories. But I thought that for a while I wanted to be a artist, like, painting. But then about third grade, I wanted to be an actress. I was cast as the male elf in some Christmas, I had to play the guy, and I thought that's what I wanted to do. And so I pursued being an actress for many, many years. I got a degree in theater from Indiana University. I went to American Musical and Dramatic Academy. I was out in New York. I really, really went for it. But I think that what I really loved was creating characters. I was really good at sketch and doing that kind of stuff. And in order to be an actress, also you have to really like to be looked at. I like networking, but I don't really like to be looked at. Like I would do a play and then I'd be the person that didn't want to come out after the play and meet anybody because I was like, I don't know, I felt embarrassed. Maybe I'd feel different now. I don't know. But later on, the thing about acting is you need other people to do it. I had all this creative energy, and if you don't get in a play or you don't get cast in something, you have all this creative energy and you're not doing anything. And long story short, I met my mentor, my screenwriting mentor, who was, it was just a weird series of events that I met him, and he offered me a free class. And I was like, I'm an actress, I'm not a writer, but I'd been working on a one-person show. I'd been writing a one-person show, and I was really feeling, got to the point in my life where I was feeling, which that's not good, is you're feeling negative because you're not getting where you want in your career.
Yeah.
You're not on the journey, that's the most important thing, is because you never know if you're going to have any success in this business. And if you don't remember why you did it and you don't have the joy of the journey, you can become really jaded. And so I was kind of in that place with my acting, and I started taking this writing class, and I was like, oh my God, I love this. And I went through this like come to Jesus moment where I was freaking out because I saw myself as an actress my entire life. And then all of a sudden, I really didn't want to do that. I wanted to write. And I felt like I was giving up, and I was like really hard on myself. And I was like, I don't know if I should do this. And my friends said, artistry is like you're on a river and there's all these tributaries. It doesn't matter. Take a tributary, you can always come back. So I took the tributary and I started screenwriting, and that became my I was like, oh yeah, this is, I just love it.
Yeah.
So, the thing about screenwriting is some people like to write and just give their stuff away. Not me. I want to do my stuff, but I didn't realize this until I made Lunch Ladies. I had gotten a lot of interest, but people would read it and they'd go, there's nobody that's going to want to see this in Europe. Comedy horrors don't sell, that kind of stuff, right? So it's like, you can write in a void for so long, and sooner or later you want to see your stuff made. And I also wanted to, and I was like, I'm going to prove that that's the film, that I'm going to show them the vision. But I meditated a lot because, on what I was going to make. I saved up for like several years to make something. But I never imagined it was going to be Lunch Ladies, because I had written the feature first. And because you don't think of doing a comedy horror, you think of doing something like kind of snooty for the festival run.
Yeah.
So there was just something in me that said, do this. And I think that, sometimes not knowing what you're doing is the best thing, because I had been making projects my entire life, but I had never made a short film. And I think that if I had looked at Lunch Ladies today, I would be like, no way. You got to find a school where you kill kids in it. No school wanted to give me, I looked at 110 locations. Nobody would give me a location. It had kids in it over 16, but that's still, you have a lot of paperwork to deal with. There was like 120 people. In the cast and crew, there was food that had to be made, like all these things that somebody else, that's a little more like along the route would go, you don't want to make that as your first short. You don't want to do that. But I did it.
It's a massive movie, Clarissa. Like the production value on that is outstanding. I won't ask what your budget was on it, but man, all the stuff that people are making ends up on Tubi and all that stuff. You could literally cut, your budget and, literally a small percentage of that. And obviously it's probably not what you want to do, is make it so small. But anyways, I'm
actually, my budget wasn't that big.
But
A lot
Clarissa,
of people
it's
spend
so
way more.
tremendous. Like the color on it, like everything about it is awesome.
Thank you. Well, I was very lucky. Like, this is where I learned that you gotta, when you're making a film, you roll with it. If you think something bad is happening, it's not bad. It's, this is hippy dippy, but it's the universe getting in your way to make you go a different way. So I just kept meditating on everything, and people would come to me. I mean, I tell a story, I think in the book, about the set designer we had. He really hadn't done any work, and he dropped out and took the other people that I hired 1 week before the show.
Yeah.
And I could have freaked out about that, but I just got on the phone and I found the most amazing people. So many people gave their free time. I got so many unbelievable free things. And Josh, the director, is an amazing director. And I met him through a guy that I met at a bar that actually ended up being the executive producer and does gore. He does, effects. So he came on. He goes, I know this guy, Josh. Well, Josh is like an amazing, what do you call it? Post-production supervisor.
Mm-hmm.
So he brought that level of hiring all the posts, called on favors. So a lot of the posts I didn't pay for, just, and I used, I think people also think, oh, I'm making a movie, I don't want to use all my people. Like, I used all my people. Like they're the best people in the world. You don't need to go out and hire, if you know a good actress, you don't need to go do 50 million auditions, because that good actress is going to be amazing and she loves you and she's going to be in your film and do the most amazing job and be there for you, So my teacher, my writing teacher was a dancer on Broadway. He came up with the concept of how the dance would look and choreographed it. And he helped me with that. And like I just had so much talent. Like Monica choreographed the hip hop section. She auditioned, and I think I gave her first choreography job. And I remember she was like, well, can you give me $50 or something? And I was like, sure. Well, now you can't even touch her. Like her career is so huge. Like she just won some giant award. She does all these commercials. She works, so like I feel like I was like in the zone of like, I've been saving this money for years, for like 4 years. I saved the money. I got to make it work. There's all these people. And I just would meditate, and I would kind of have intuition about, is this person going to work? Is that person not going to work? I treated everybody like $1 million. I listened to ideas that were better than mine.
Yeah.
So I think that's why, I had such a high level of, I brought what I could, which was a great script, and that I had worked with my teacher, but I also like brought people on that were, I don't know, they came to me and I felt it, and I listened to them, like when Josh said, this is what you need to do for the scene, I was like, okay, not with the writing so much. I didn't let him touch the writing that much, but if he had a better idea, I would take his better idea.
So what that like is okay. So maybe things are just different out there in LA than it is in,
Probably
middle of nowhere, Indiana. It's like, I was like, we're like around here, it's all, well, I'm the writer, director, producer, like everyone's wearing a million hats. So like, did you not have any desire to direct it yourself? Did you just like, like you want to be a writer, that's all you want to do?
Yeah, at the time. Now I want to direct because you have more control, but I was working a full-time job. I had written it. I was producing it, which was a giant thing.
Yeah.
It was really me, the buck stops here. I found a director that he needed something comedic like that and an ensemble piece for his reel, and he really got it. He actually pushed me to do that. I really wanted to do Lunch Ladies first, and another director who was going to do it, he kind of sabotaged it and told me that it would never work and all this kind of stuff. And then I wrote another piece, and then he dropped out, and I was crying. And then I found Josh, and Josh was like, geez, I like Lunch Ladies. I know the horror community, they're going to go nuts. And I was like, good, that's what I want to do. Yeah. So I was lucky to find Josh, and Josh knew a lot of people. Like I didn't know anything about hiring crew. So like he brought on a lot of crew, and then I had my writing class, and like I knew Donna before, who plays the lead, and Josh knew Mary. The girl came from my friend Shayna, who was a producer on it. I just kind of it probably is harder out in, Indiana. I'm sure it is because we have a lot of talent that comes here, but there's also a lot of talent out there. And if you give people a chance, it's like you got to have this. Just listen. I don't know. Like I'm always working on listening to my intuition because there were people that would come in and, like a couple PAs that I interviewed that I was like, no, there was something about them that I was like, no. And other PAs that didn't have like any experience that were going to like film school. Like one guy, I gave him his first thing and he was amazing. Like he was so amazing as a PA, like what he did. Like, and then I ended up giving him like another credit, but I just think like you got as much as possible, you got to have your community. And luckily I have this community of screenwriters that I work with. So I used actors for my screenwriting class. There were people that came in as PAs. Josh knew people. I kind of think it's not a great thing to try to wear too many hats.
Yeah.
Because something's going to suffer.
So on that, like, okay, so like from what I'm hearing is like you were very, very passionate about collaborating with the people that you trust, you want to work with, your friends, the people you know are going to have your back. Like,
yeah.
And again, maybe it's just the advantage of living in LA. Like you're surrounded by a community of artists, like,
right.
So like, and I understand you get, where there's too many options and all that stuff. So like even finding your people to where you can work closely with, like, that's super awesome.
Yeah, I would say like for people that are in smaller communities, start your own community. Like I came into a community of writing, so like my writing class that I'm still in has been running for like 35 years. I came into it. But like if I was out there by myself, I mean Fort Wayne, where you're at, is still a big enough place. It's like start your own community. I would probably start my own community. That's the best. Or you just honestly, I know this is hippy dippy, but like you just meditate on what you need and it'll come to you. Like I need people that are gonna like are of the same mind that I am, that want to create things with me and put it out there. And you would be surprised what shows up.
Yeah.
You really would.
So like how many festivals did Lunch Ladies end up playing in? Because I know you mentioned Le Mans, which is I know a big festival.
Like 130 or 40. I mean, it's still going. It's crazy. Like I don't really enter festivals now, but people come to me. And then I did enter this really interesting Romanian festival because I want to go to Romania because I have a feature film that's optioned by a Romanian producer there, and I want to go there. But the cool thing about this festival is they take your film for a year all over to like people that don't get to see film very much. So like small villages in Nepal, small villages in Indonesia, like really, and I think that's really cool because you're touching the world with your film and people get to see. I don't know, it's just cool to me.
No, that's so awesome. Like,
yeah,
even the
so I entered that.
No, you're like, it's awesome. Like I'm again, like I'm so excited for you. Just like, again, as I said, I've been following your career for the last couple of years. I first heard you on another podcast. I won't mention his name. but yeah, ever since then, like I was like, oh, what's she up to? And then it's like just not like a weird stalker vibe. Don't worry.
No, I appreciate it. I just think like, like I don't want to be like this person that's entering film festival. Well, first of all, if your film's too old, you can't, but there are still quite a few. And I'm like, let people have their thing. But if people come to you or you see something and my film is in distribution and everything, but I still haven't got that feature made. And I still believe that if somebody sees it, the right person sees it, they're gonna understand the amazing amount of that they can sell it, that there are people out there that like it and they might be willing to put money into it. So that's always been my goal, is just get it seen.
So what came first, the feature or specifically with Lunch Ladies? Did the feature come first or did you?
So that's why it was weird. So I was, like meditating on a short film to do from my features. And I have this coming of age film called Stella by Starlight, which is the one film that almost everybody that reads it loves. or likes, because there's nothing offensive. It just makes you feel good. Everything else I write is kind of offensive, or like dark characters, it has like stuff that's kind of like, ooh, So I kept thinking, how am I I need to do that, because that sounds like a film festival thing. And I just couldn't figure it out. And then then I thought of Lunch Ladies, about how people couldn't really, say that it couldn't sell, that nobody would want to see it, that, stuff like that. And I think in some ways writing a short is harder than writing a feature.
Yeah.
Because you have no time. Every moment has to explain what's going on, and every moment is used. And so it was difficult writing a short from Lunch Ladies. It was difficult. It took me like 6 months. But like I said, I have this amazing writing class that they helped me with it, What's funny is some people will see the short and they'll be like, oh, she wants to make a feature, but there's no way you could ever make a feature out of this. And they have no idea how hard it was to take the feature to the short.
Right.
So I hate when people underestimate creative minds and they go, oh, you can't do that. There's no way you could do that.
So what, like, again, I understand, like, you're obviously in the business, like you are living in LA, like you're making a living, doing what you're passionate about.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm making a living. I'm working hard to make a living. I still have side gigs. I do voiceover on the side. I'm working right now to get like a public adjuster's license. I've got 2 films right now, one that's option and one that's so close to getting done. But this business is like, most people are hustling.
Well, I was going to say, like, the fact that you even, have a place to live, you're not living on your friend's couch.
That's true.
Like, what a blessing that is. So.
Yeah, I just think, you hustle, and like I have the same things as other people, like, oh, I should be making more money at this. I should be able to do this. You cannot get caught up in that. You have to just be in the moment and the journey and create, because there's no guarantees. Like I've worked my ass off, but I've been so lucky and blessed to have this ride with Lunch Ladies and my other things. And I believe that I'm going to get my feature done. I'm going to believe, all these things are going to happen. But you know what? There's no guarantees. You need a little bit of luck. So you got to be on it for the journey. And if you can be in a place, LA's expensive, but I made it work. Other people can make it work. There's all kinds of, but there's film going on now everywhere. I was just up in Ely, Minnesota. They have a huge film. They just did a film there. They have like a 75% with the state tax thing. So it's like, you really can do film everywhere. It's just maybe a little harder some places if you're not in like a place like Atlanta, New York, or LA to, like you said, to meet people, to find your people.
Yeah,
but they're out there.
I guess it just depends on what you want to do with it. Like good example, like, you originally started making Lunch Ladies as a feature, like is that your chief goal out of all that, is having the feature made out of that? Like, how do you stick with Lunch Ladies for all these years? And like, do you ever just get burnt out and be like, man, this isn't going anywhere? Like, are you still hoping it happens? Like, are you like, obviously you supplement other creative aspects and
right.
Like, I know you made a couple short films since then, like,
right.
do you have
I want to make features. So I'm kind of like, I was like, I did the last short film because I directed it. It was, with Shayna, my creative partner. I really want to make features, but I think like I'm always doing other projects. Like I have like a project right now that's really dear to my heart. That's, an adaptation of my dad's book. It is about a kid that goes into the wilderness and his grandpa gets kidnapped and he has no skills in camping and canoeing, and he has to get to the end point before he dies. My dad writes books on camping and canoeing. So I've got that project. I've got another project. I've got like so many projects. And whichever one of them, I think it's to just keep making projects. Whichever one of them happens first, cool.
Yeah. Lunch
Ladies, I will never be tired of talking about, because it's my heart. They're all my heart. They're all like babies to me. And, yeah, you can go, oh shit, it's been, let's see, I made the short and like 7 years ago, and I still haven't gotten it made. But if you actually start doing a little research about stuff, I think it was like Million Dollar Baby took like 15 years to get made. Dirty Dancing was thrown away into a garbage can on the lot and took years to get made. And I think with this kind of stuff, you have to stick with it, and you have to be on for the journey, and it's not going to happen on your timeline. And I think, even though it can get frustrating, and I get my down days too, is don't give up. Like, if you love it, if it's truly what your heart does, even if you don't make it, even if it doesn't get made, it's what your heart is, then you're following your path. And like, so many people give up because it's hard, and they forget, like what I said when I was acting and I wasn't booking stuff that I wanted to book, and having to wait tables all the time and all the stuff that I didn't want to do. And like, I grew into that bitterness. And so like, I think if you grow into that bitterness, then you got to step away from it. But if you can remember why you love it, and you're always making something, and you can go, okay, if I have to do this side gig, maybe that side gig's not such a bad thing, because maybe that side gig, maybe I'm supposed to meet somebody who's going to get me closer to this. And that you can always try to just go, most people don't have a film that gets made, a feature film that gets made in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. So you have a bunch of projects, you fulfill yourself creatively, and if you love your projects, I don't know if I'd ever get tired of talking about lunch ladies or lunch. I do get tired about, I stopped doing a lot of the social media. I got tired about that. But not about the film, because I still want to see the feature so bad.
Yeah. Again, it was an incredible short film. I
Thank
loved
you.
it. And so you mentioned you do, like, you wrote other features, like you have I don't want to call it a group. Are you a business
Writing
with,
group?
what's that? I'm sorry.
A writing group?
Oh, no. You said you had another script in the like in the work, or not, sorry, not in the works. Uh, is it your Rebel Minx?
Yeah, so I work with, okay, so I'm in this amazing screenwriting class I talk a lot about, called Twin Bridges, that I've been in for a long time, and they've had some amazing successes. And I wrote all my own scripts. I wrote Lunch Ladies by myself. I wrote by myself. I didn't want to have a creative partner. And I met Shayna in class, and we started working on a script together. And I realized it's so much easier to work with somebody than to write your own. So, and we just have a great time. So we made our company, and then we write together. Oh, hold on. Kent I don't know why he needs to like go away. Hold on. That's the good. So anyway, yeah, I work with her, and we're always like, right now we have a horror film that we're trying to get made. And I mean, I have like 10 projects or 15 projects, and right now I'm kind of like, I mean, I just finished the Justin Cody, the adaptation of my dad's book. And I'm kind of burnt out on writing screenplays now. I want to get something done.
Yeah.
That's really what I want to do. So I have
Yeah.
my down days too, where I'm like, oh, why isn't this happening? Like, why, but then I always remember the journey. Gotta love the journey.
Well, no, I was gonna say, like, I feel like sometimes I'll be working on a project passionately for a while, and then it just seems to not be moving forward. Then I'll jump onto another project, and then like, well, that's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, I just constantly bounce from one project to the other. So like, I don't know, you've heard it quoted like it's a miracle that any movie ever gets made in
Yeah.
the first place. So like, it's wild that you can even write a feature film. Like I always end up at like 45 minutes in my writing, and
That's the hardest part. That's where you want to quit.
yeah, well, like I'm really good
Good
at
point.
outlining stories. Like, okay, I know I need to have this plot beat here, and then
I don't outline. You
you
don't have
don't
to
at
outline.
all. Okay,
You don't have to outline.
are you a planner, or are you a fly from the seat of your pants? Like, do you just sit at your laptop or notepad?
No, like, I mean, I'm in a really interesting class, and he said, character creates story, right? What you really need is what their goal is, what their false goal is, and what you're going to teach them. And I kind of have an idea of, okay, this might be the end, this might be the middle, this might be page 10 or 15, the inciting incident or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And then I go with that because I find, I would use an outline if I was under the gun to finish something really fast. But when you have the luxury, it's like a lot of people write to the outline. So it's like, that like, it feels predictable because they're writing to page 10 and you don't allow your brain to have something better. And I mean, this is my opinion. Like, I mean, there's people that love to outline. But my teacher, we don't use outlines. So like when I didn't really know how to write, I was on my third script when I wrote Stella by Starlight. That's where I learned the character must have a goal. It took me a really long time. I didn't know anything about structure, nothing. When the film was finished, it had almost perfect structure.
That's awesome.
But that's because we're taught the Aristotle structure from the time we're a kid. We actually understand it at heart.
Yep.
What happens is people get so caught up in this logistics of it instead of concentrating on what your character wants. And I find it's also a lot funner to write that way.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, I get stuck too, just like everybody else.
Oh, yeah. Do you ever have it to where you're writing out a character and then like you kind of have a plot outline, not necessarily a written outline. You kind of have an idea where the story's going, but like trying to figure out what your character's motivation is?
Yeah, well, what I do is I try not to think about the motivation. I try to think about the overarching goal. So what is this person's goal? What they think they will do? If this doesn't happen, they're going to die. If they feel like I'm going to die if I don't get this. If I don't get lunch ladies made by next year, I'm going to die. That's my false goal. And then as a writer, what am I teaching this person? Look, lunch ladies might not ever get made. So you got to just be enjoying the ride. So that's what I'm, as a writer, going to teach it. So I try to, I try to think of it like in each scene, how to get closer to her goal and build on that.
Mm-hmm.
And usually if I get stuck, and that's why it's important if you can have a great screenwriting class, because you can step away and bring it and people will give you ideas and you'll be like, oh, usually what happens is you're overthinking. My teacher has a saying, KISS, which I think people keep it stupid simple, but keeping it stupid simple is the hardest thing in the world. Writing simple is the hardest thing in the world. But I think if you're stuck, even if you sit there, and I've done this before, believe me, and it takes you 4 days to write 3 sentences, it's not wasted. Even if you have to throw away 8 pages that didn't work, or 25, I've had to throw away a whole first act that didn't work. It's something like your brain is, you don't want to people give up and they push it aside because they're like, oh, I can't get it. No, it's like, if you're just forcing yourself to write a little bit, your brain is somehow like figuring it out. It's figuring it out.
Yeah.
And eventually you will figure it out. You will get over that hump. Even though I thought, oh, I'm never going to get over that hump. And then I told this little secret to myself. I don't know where I came up with this, but I love the idea of quantum physics, that there's more than one thing happening in different time periods.
Mm-hmm.
So I always tell myself when I get stuck, in another time period, I finish the script. So I already did it. And so then I kind of like bring down the drama of like, oh my God, I can't do it. I can't, I was the worst person of like, I can't do it. I'm stuck on page 37. I can't get to page 50. What am I doing next? What can I do next? And that kind of helps me through it. And then of course my screenwriting class, I think, screenwriting is a very specific, a lot of people think they can do it because they know how to write from school. It's more like poetry, and a lot of people don't understand how to make a scene move to a next scene to move next scene instead of like billion little scenes.
Yeah.
It's practice. It's sitting your butt down. It's getting a good teacher if you have one. But I think we all, unless you're some kind of genius, which I don't think most people are genius. Most people can't write it that. And I don't understand why people think that it's great to write a script in a month. Like, oh, great, I did a boot camp. I wrote it. Who cares? Yeah. It's going to suck. Most of the time it's going to suck if it's written that fast. So
speaking of like time on screenwriting, like you have written numerous screenplays, like some have been sold, they've been made or are possibly being
I have
made.
one that was sold last year, and I have several that are optioned, but I have not had anything else. And I've made mine, right?
like looking back at those screenplays, like, do you ever want to revisit those and be like, man, if only I could have changed this scene, or if only
Yeah,
I
of
would have written it.
course.
Like, again, sorry, I don't mean to take up your time talking about
No,
myself,
no,
but
I
like,
love talking about this.
I
I don't
have,
want to be all one-sided. Go
well,
for it.
no, like, I don't, anyways, like, I have, so my passion project, my Cold Steel, my, like, it's, very inspired by James Bond, another character, Metal Gear, like spy espionage, kind of like my brother would
Right.
call it as if James Bond and Austin Powers had a child, like Cold Steel would be their bastard child. It's
That's
not
funny.
serious enough to be James Bond, and it's not a comedy like Austin Powers. So it's like that niche, cheesy 80s action, but like
I
spy
love it.
action
So it's
thriller. Like
funny.
it's fun. I love it to death. But
Love
like
it.
I have had this story since like I was 17 years old, and like I've never been able to move on to it. I literally had made this movie like I'm like on version 7 of it. Like I made it, I rewrite it, I film a new scene here or there, and I keep releasing it and releasing and releasing it. It's like, hey, I got 1,700 views. Yay, look at me. I'm YouTube famous now. But like I'm still not done with it. I still want to keep going back and like
Well, you gotta, that's okay. So no script is ever done. Okay, there's no script that's ever done. I revisit my stuff. That's why it's also good to have a class because somebody will say, put a fork in it. Like my teacher will say, put a fork in it until someone gives you money to make changes. And also, there's going to be a bunch of dumb people that are going to come in and give you bad changes anyway because everybody thinks they're going to write. So,
oh yeah.
Even if you make it the most perfect thing in the world, some idiot's going to come in and say, can't you do this on page 27? I don't like how she is like this. And you're just like, oh God, and you got to rip the whole thing apart because they think they know, but they don't know. So I think that like you need to be a little less hard on yourself and like know when it's good. Like that's another thing is like my teacher always says, know when your stuff is good, know when someone has a better idea, but know when your stuff is good. So like you have to start building that belief in your work that it's good and that you showed it. I don't think it's an island. You have to show it to people that have your best interests at heart, are going to help you and give you great notes on it.
Yeah.
Don't give it to everybody because most people don't know how to give notes on scripts, But I think that you put a fork in it and then you film it. And not everything's going to work and and there's going to be changes. There's always going to be changes, but you can't keep tearing apart your script because it's like you change as a person too. So just because you change as a person doesn't mean like what you're bringing to it now might make it better. It might just make it different.
Yeah. And that's true. Like, just for some reason, like, okay, you being a writer, like you've been writing for all these years, whether it's,
Right.
Professionally or just, side,
Right.
you enjoy, like, you just love writing. Like,
Right.
do you have a particular, character that you always go back to? Like, I love the wounded warrior sort of guy. Like, he has a dark past and like unredeemable qualities, but like,
Yeah.
very much Kurt Russell list. Like, just
Who doesn't love Kurt Russell?
I mean, I'm not gay, but if I was, he would be
No,
my guy.
Kurt Russell.
Even at 80, he's still
I
handsome.
know he's the best.
Either way, I digress. I'm sorry, but like, yeah, like, what do you have a particular character that like you always want to revisit, or you like love venturing out into new characters?
I love venturing out into new characters, but I will say when I look at themes throughout my work, they're usually about dreams, not being like people not going after their dreams, giving that kind of message. My characters are usually, other than my Stella by Starlight movie, pretty unlikable. And I love unlikable characters. I mean, I hate this thing where people are like, it's the stupidest note in the world. It comes from people that don't know anything about writing or about human beings, where they want somebody to be, quote, likable.
Yeah.
They don't need to be likable. I like characters with flaws that you can learn from, that are relatable. And if you look at anything on TV from The Sopranos on, the truth is people like characters that have flaws.
Yep. Yeah, I was just thinking about that yesterday. Like, my friend, I got this D&D group, and my friend wanted me to write out, a paragraph for, each character. And then it's
Right.
like, I just was writing, like, every character has a very like evident weakness, and it's like I love flawed characters. Like,
Yes.
Like the Mary
People
Sue
don't want to
trope.
look at flawed character because they're afraid to look at their own flaws.
Correct. So do you, okay, but if you're gonna meet a real person in real life who's just a jerk and really flawed, like would you be intrigued by that person, or were you just kind of more like,
Well, I
he's a
think that it's more like, first of all, I am intrigued by people that have flaws.
Yeah.
I find them way more interesting than people that, because I know that people that are like, they've got some bullshit going on underneath.
Yeah.
But I think with writing, it's like you do have to make them relatable or like learn something. Learn something along the way so that you can be on the ride with them. You don't necessarily have to like them. I think that a lot of people that read scripts don't understand how to read scripts because they want to read it all on the page. Like they don't understand. I know that I didn't know how to read scripts when I first started. But there's all this subtext and all the things that you can bring to the character that if you read it too fast, they're gonna miss it. I think that I just think that, like you look at Tony Soprano, he's the most unlikable dude in the world. But you relate to him because he has moments of because he struggles with the same shit that we all struggle with. Like, am I, I don't get enough love. My wife doesn't like me. My kid doesn't like me. I kind of don't like what I'm doing, but I've got an anger management problem. Like I think that but he's a horrible person. So this stuff about like being likable, yeah, you don't want somebody. What I think the best way to do it is you want them to be human.
Yeah.
So like human can be Tony Soprano. You don't agree with everything you don't agree with 90% of what he does. He's actually a pretty horrible person, but you see his humanity. And I think that's what you need to bring to your characters. I don't think you need to make them likable. Likable characters are boring. I think I mean, they're not human because to be so likable. I mean, look at Indiana Jones. He's got so many flaws, but he's the most likable dude in the world because he's flawed. So I don't buy all that kind of nonsense about making.
So tell me how you
Especially
really
in
feel
comedy.
about it.
No, I know. I'm really passionate about it.
No,
It makes me crazy. People tell me that all the time about my writing. They told me that about the lunch ladies. They're not likable. They kill people. I'm like, whatever.
Absolutely. Like, I love those ladies. Like, obviously they have some very serious flaws.
Problems?
But like,
I feel sorry for them. I mean, they have a good job.
They had clear motives and they had passions and they
didn't mean it. I think it's like if your character does something bad, you can show them being, you show them being either it's a cautionary tale and they don't have any remorse whatsoever, which is fine too. Cautionary tales are fine too. Or they show a little bit of remorse. Like, Tony Soprano wouldn't show any remorse when he would murder somebody. But then like something, I remember there was one episode where like a prostitute, a kind of like girl that worked at the thing, she got murdered and he kept seeing his daughter in it. Yep. And you saw his remorse there. So I think you would just pepper it with like the humanity and then you're fine.
Do you, dang it, I'm so sorry. I just lost it.
That's okay. I'm pretty like passionate when it.
No. I love it. No, it's great. Obviously, like, man, you love writing and it's so awesome to see. Like,
but it's hard. It's hard.
Oh, it's
sometimes, like, and I don't always love it because sometimes it's hard to sit your ass down and write.
I agree.
But I love writing. I love creating characters.
They are fun. There we go. Okay, I remember it now. It came back. Do you ever find people you interact with in real life, like see them come through on your characters?
Oh yeah.
Like I was writing, this particular character for a movie, and as I'm writing it out, I go back and reread it. I'm like, holy crap! That's my boss to a T. Like
No, I do that all the time. I mean, there's, like I wrote a historical movie, which isn't based on anybody, but like Lunch Ladies, Donna, who plays the main lunch lady, she's not that way, but there's stuff of her that I put in there.
Yeah. Do you ever find yourself being in some of your characters?
Oh, totally. I think that this is what you learned in acting too, is like good acting is, like they used to have you like one of my teachers had me draw like almost like a tree, and you would write on one side what the characters all about them, what they do, and then on your side what you do.
Yep. And
then you would match the things that you have in common, and you would go, and that was to say every character that you play is a little part of you. Even if you play Hitler, there's a little part of you in all these people. So like, I think that all my characters definitely have a part of me. Stella by Starlight, the one that everybody thinks is so sweet, which it is sweet, is pretty much a young version of me.
Yeah.
And a story about my, with my grandmother. But yeah, I think that they're all your babies. They come from you, so they're part of you. That's how I feel. And I think that's what good writing is. If you're bringing yourself, just like if you bring yourself to acting, if you're bringing yourself to the page and are being vulnerable and writing to the pain and showing your own pain, people can't help but feel that and connect with it. So yeah, definitely. I always bring myself.
No, that's awesome. Like, my playing my character Cold Steel, like it's pretty much an alter ego of myself. So
Exactly.
it's like it makes it so easy for just acting. I'm just playing a.
Exactly. I mean, the lunch ladies are an alter ego of me. Like in another universe, I could be one of those women and would probably snap and do something bad.
Oh boy. Clarissa Jacobson opens her own school.
Don't go to school with Clarissa.
Yeah. Have you seen her movie? Bad things happen to those kids. So
and
not
quantum
all of
physics in another universe. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it. So like, okay, your dad wrote his book. Like, do you ever have any desire to write like narrative fiction at all?
Well, it's interesting that you say that because like you said, I wrote the other book, but I didn't really want to write that book. Josh, the director, was telling me to write it. And writing a book is really hard. It's a different type of hard than a screenplay, and I enjoy writing screenplays a lot more. But I wrote this film called Tear Catcher, which is my heart, even more than anything. I think it's the best thing I ever wrote. But it's I can't even explain it in one word. It's the one film that I really want to make myself. And I just felt last year like it needed to have the YA version. So I actually started writing that. And it's a schlep, like having to sit down and write it versus working on a screenplay.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I felt this need to do it. I don't think that, and I hope that, it turns out good and then I'm going to get it published, but like, that's not really what I want to do.
Yeah.
It's just a different type of, to me, it feels relentless compared to writing a screenplay. But a screenplay is really, really hard to write. It's just different hard.
Yeah, I think the furthest I've ever gotten at a book is like a page. Like I've always desired to like write a book, but like, man, getting past that first page is like I have like great ideas, but actually putting it on paper is impossible.
Yeah, you're making it into the screenplay. I mean, the only reason I'm doing this is I feel like a YA version of Tear Catcher, that's the name of the script, would help the script get made.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of work. I mean, I'm almost done with it, but I'm still gonna have to rewrite the whole thing, because I am just writing stream of consciousness and it's just a mess right now.
So, okay, like you being in the position that you're in, like you have the freedom to write, like you can wake up tomorrow morning and say, I'm going to write a feature film about whatever the world I want. Like, do people ever come to you for like comps and be like, hey, Clarissa, I need you to write me a script, about X, Y, and Z. Like, can you?
I wish.
Well, I was saying, like,
I'm not that far. I wouldn't say that I'm that far along in my career. I really wouldn't want to write somebody else's stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was working before COVID, I had many full-time jobs, and I remember sitting at work and just being heartbroken because every day I just want to write, and then coming home and write, and like I had this anxiety of wanting to just write. So I understand that, and right now I have a luxury of writing when I want to write. It's amazing, but I still have to make a living, so I'm doing all kinds of other things too. I'm still not, Quentin Tarantino who can just do whatever the hell he wants.
Well, yeah, but like if you're gonna like, I mean, from my perspective, like you're living the dream. Obviously, everyone's dream is, I don't want to say it's subjective, but like, what's your goal like in the next, before you bite the dust, like what do you hope to achieve? Like for you being like, I made it. Is that like I
made it would be to make I want to succeed with Rebel Minx. I want to make my own features. I want my Bathory movie to get made in Romania. I think I'm a far away from that. I still, like I said, I'm not making a living on screenwriting right now. So I still supplement everything with that. And all I want to do is screenwrite and make films. So that's my goal.
Yeah.
Whichever one happens first, and I'm pushing them all. But yeah. But like right now, at least I got out of I got out of the grind of doing a 9 to 5, but also the 9 to 5 gave me a lot.
Yeah.
Like without the 9 to 5, I couldn't have made Lunch Ladies. That's how I saved my money.
Yeah, I totally get that. Like, I mean, I was being like, with being a filmmaker, like, like it's very hustle culture. Like, I get that.
Right.
Even, Hollywood directors now are like, they get money for 3 years and then like money runs out because they're not getting the back end of like DVD sales and all that stuff anymore. But I know you got to get going here in the next couple minutes. So, Clarissa, like, thank you so much for your time. Like, it's been such a pleasure.
No,
like,
it's been cool talking to you. And I want to see Cold Steel, and I think you should just leave it alone.
Clarissa, you don't understand. I keep coming up with so many better ideas. Like, oh well, Cold Steel runs through.
Stop. Maybe you should meet my teacher and work on it with him, and he'll tell you.
He'll say, "Yeah, you need to like stop obsessing and move on." But it's like, I've only made shorts. Like, my biggest passion is like, I have to make a feature. I don't care if it never makes money.
And you will. Then you will. You'll make it. Just like me. That's my biggest passion right now. Like, I mean, it's a long story about this other film that got sold, and I'm really scared to see it came out because it didn't. It's a long story, but yeah, I haven't seen the feature that I want to make come out yet, and that's my goal too. And I honestly don't want to go through the studio system. I want to do it my way, just like I did Lunch Ladies. I had the money, I did it my way. And that's why it turned out the way that it did, because I could choose what I wanted. And it's so hard to give it up to somebody else that wants to mess with it.
And like for me, like I have a full-time job. Like, I work the 9 to 5. It's like I have to pay my bills. I would rather have the comfort of that right now. And I just nowhere necessarily at a place right now to be like, hey, I'm going to just take a leave. And like, oh, no one's hiring me for anything. Like, I have no desire to do wedding videos or anything like corporate like that. Like that's just not me. Like, I love the art passion of just writing and collaboration and friendships and relationships. Like,
absolutely.
So all to say is like, I just have this story that I just want to write into a feature and make the feature. If it takes me 5 years, but like,
and just do it. You will do it.
Clarissa, like, just from talking to you, you were disciplined and you put in the work. Like, I'm lazy. I get home and it's like, oh, I'll watch the new season of Cobra Kai.
Put in the work, but make yourself a little schedule. I will tell you, working my 40-hour job, I was more prolific writing than most of the people in my class that did not have jobs. Because my passion was to get it done, and I had such little time to do it that I sat my ass down and I did it. I made a schedule. I wrote Monday night, I had class Tuesday night, I wrote Wednesday night, Thursday night, and then Saturday day in the morning to get those features going. And then once I had some under my belt, I let up a little bit. But you just gotta do it, and you'll feel better. Like, it's hard, but it's actually easier when you get a schedule going than when you step away from it for like a week. The hardest thing is stepping away from a script for a week and then trying, like right now, I haven't written on my book in 2 weeks, and I'm like kind of dreading working on it on Saturday. But then once you go back and then you get kind of excited because you're like working on it. So if you can keep that schedule up, you'll get it done.
Yeah. And
if you have a class to keep you honest, to go in and like work it, and you got to bring in pages, that helps too.
Yeah, I think I have a writing community around here. They meet like, I don't know, once a month or once every month or whatever. I should probably get plugged into that. Like, because like
it helps.
I could sit around and work on this thing till the day I die, and I'll just.
Well, you got to stop doing that. That's a method of procrastination, not to actually.
Clarissa, don't put me in my corner, dang it.
It's true. It's true. You're
terrible.
Sabotaging yourself because I don't know. I shouldn't judge.
No, I'm afraid.
Maybe you're afraid.
I don't want to put all this time and effort to it. Like, from my perspective, it's like, what's the point if it's not even going to make it into like indie fest? Like,
it might not.
Like,
it might not, but who cares? You got to just take that leap. And if it sucks, your next one will be better. You got to take the leap. I was terrified Lunch Ladies was going to suck.
Well,
terrified.
In your fortunate advantage, it did not. So
right, but I mean, I've made stuff that sucks before. You know, you got to get out of the way of the fear. All you want, they're just saying all you want is on the other side of fear.
That sucks. I'll listen to your wisdom.
Look at Woody Allen. He makes a movie every single year, and some of them suck and some of them are amazing.
Yeah.
His greatest thing is he just does it. I'm so sorry to cut you off. I'd love to talk.
No. I know you gotta go.
I've got this other meeting at 12 p.m. on Zoom, so I gotta go.
Just real quick. How can people support you?
They just go to my website. Hey, I'm ClarissaJ.com, and you can find everything there.
Yeah,
and I always answer everybody and love to meet new filmmakers, and it's cool.
Yeah,
talk shop is fun.
Yeah, no, I messaged Clarissa once or twice over the years, and she's been incredible. Clarissa, you're so kind.
Oh no, I love talking. We're all the same people, man. We're all in the same boat.
No, I really appreciate your time. Lunch Ladies, Butts is hitting the festival circuit. Go buy the book. I made a short film now, W2F, whatever you want to call it. Do I do with it? Go read it. Clarissa, again, thank you so much for your time. I'm so humbled to chat with you.
Now we're new friends. I love it, Andrew.
Hit me up anytime, dude. If you have complaints, if you want me to review something for you, I'm going to give you positive feedback. So,
thanks,
you're
man.
in my network, so please, by all means, I'm in your corner just as much as you've been in mine.
I'm in your corner. Finish your script.
Thanks a lot, dude. I appreciate your time, and have a great weekend.
All right. Thanks for talking.
All right. Bye-bye, Clarissa.
Bye, Andrew.